Hello and welcome to another episode of UpGrade with Maria Kay, the podcast where your success, freedom and happiness get a weekly boost. Yay, I'm so excited that you have taken this time out to give your upgrade, your life, your enjoyment, your fun, everything that's going on for you a boost. This shows me that you can have more. You know there's always room for more, which is one of my major mantras, and that you're willing to take this 30 or so minutes out of your busy schedule to ensure that you are doing all that you can. So a huge warm welcome to you. If you haven't already done so, hop along over to the Facebook group, UpGrade with Maria Kay. Join us, post what you need, share your upgrade stories, perhaps any suggestions that you have for future podcast topics, and just say hi. I love hearing from you, and I really look forward to getting your messages. Now, I help people all over the world create success, freedom, and happiness in their lives. And today's podcast topic is inspired by some of your messages, some of your feedback that was following on from last week's podcast, which was all about shifting our lives from mediocre to outstanding. Now, the one element, if you haven't already listened to that, by the way, please jump back into the archives, grab hold of it and spend some time getting yourself acquainted with what we were covering last week. I gave lots of tips and lots of tools and sort of loose rules really to follow in ensuring that you are able to bring your life up from out of that kind of mediocre way of living into upgraded, outstanding way of living. Now, the one sort of theme that really kind of rang out or stood out for a lot of people, and I've been asked a lot of questions about this. I've been, there's been a lot of conversation and excitement around this particular area, and that is freedom. Now, there are a lot of components that contribute to a successful upgraded life. Now, I want to just stop there and just put in a little side note that our upgrades don't happen the same way as you might walk into the store and upgrade your mobile phone, or the same way you click a button and you upgrade your seat on a flight, on an aeroplane, right? Your life upgrade and which trickles down into all those little intricate components and areas of your life, they happen over a period of time, and in my opinion they happen continuously, eternally, forever and ever, right? So that's something that is really important to understand, but the reason it's important is because we have to show up every day as the person that we want to be. And we have to live our daily lives in a way that's congruent with our upgraded vision. Now, let me pause there once again. If you're just joining us and you kind of have missed a few of the early podcast episodes, I really do urge you to jump back, spend some time going through the clarity ones, getting to grips with actually really what it is that you want, and start at the beginning of the process, so that you can first of all know what you want, because if we don't know what we want, if we don't know what's wrong or what we don't like, then we can't pinpoint or even begin to move towards what we do want. So do jump back and spend some time with some pens and some paper and just get creative. Allow what's inside of you to come out into the open. Invite it out. No more being shy, no more hiding it, no more sort of quashing your desires. Once they become really transparent and really shine out in front of you, you can then jump back in and join in with what we're doing today. Because one of the main blocks to moving into an outstanding upgraded life is confusion, lack of clarity. Oh, I really don't know what I want. I don't know what I like. And one of the best ways to achieve that, right, which I'm just going to give you a sort of a brief snippet here, is to jump into life feet first, head first, get dirty, experience it, get into nitty gritty, say yes to everything within reason, of course. And it's in the living of your life that you get the feedback. You realize what you don't like, which then leads you on to knowing what you do like, and so on and so forth. So clarity comes from experience. So the buzz around the element of last week's podcast that was all about freedom, right? So to live an outstanding life is to have the freedom to choose and the courage to choose freely. So once you've got your clarity, once you start to know who you are, and then on a very regular basis, once you are developing those abilities to continuously tap into who you are, because who you are today, my friends, is probably worlds apart from who you were last year or the year before. You are an evolving, constantly changing being. It's your true natural nature. So if you kind of look around your life, kind of take stock and think, well, actually, I'm just doing the same things that I did 5 years ago. I'm just going to the same places or the same holiday destinations, or eating at the same restaurants, or doing the same job, right, that I've been doing for as long as I can remember. Then I urge you to switch it up a little bit. Try a new restaurant. Travel somewhere completely different and outside of your comfort zone. Eat something different for dinner, right? Sleep on the other side of the bed. Switch sides with your partner. Pick a different colored toothbrush, like whatever it might be, switch it up. Because you have the freedom to choose. But are you choosing freely, or are you either stuck in a rut, or are you choosing to please other people, or are you choosing the same because to choose anything different would be way too scary? Now, I grew up inside of a childhood that really didn't give me too much freedom. All's well and good, but the cultural background that I came from, which I absolutely love, I really must stress that. I'm actually spending some time at the moment in my, what I call my place of rooting, which is the small island of Cyprus, off of near to Greece and near to the Middle East, which I absolutely love. But because of the cultural background, as a girl growing up, I wasn't given the ability to assert my freedom and independence. A lot of my choices were made for me, and anything that kind of came from inside of me, anything that I was inspired to do, took a lot of persuading, a lot of battling. Sometimes I was successful, sometimes I wasn't. But what that did for me was it gave me such a respect and such a passion for not only my freedom, but also the freedom of everybody in the world, and especially the people that come to me for coaching and teaching and guidance and mentorship. I am, after all, a success, a freedom and happiness coach, because as well as success, I also believe that freedom is one of our most valuable commodities in life. And because of my sort of fascination with the whole concept and my passion for it, both on a personal level, but also on a professional level, I've spent a lot of time studying cultures and people who actually didn't have freedom. And we're talking on a level that was much, much more magnified and a bit on a very much bigger scale than I ever experienced. And what I've come to find is that the people who were restricted by whatever it may be, whether it's their nation, the Taliban, their parents, the church, religion, right? Whatever it may be, the people who were restricted on a much bigger level or scale went on to utilize their newfound freedom to its fullest capacity, whether it be for education, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, personal freedom, the freedom to choose what they wear. Once somebody has been restricted in some way, shape, or form, their voice, their impact on the world and their life individually as well, and also the people around them firsthand, their family, their children, their spouses, right? They're sort of close to communities and wider communities, are affected in such a way that they've lived that part of their life for a very good reason. What I'm interested to talk to you guys about today, though, is the opposite, and also raise the question that perhaps the more freedom we have, and if we've never known anything different, we kind of take it for granted. We kind of become desensitized to it, that, it's the norm, right? And that being said, we hold ourselves inside of this, in the confines of our own freedoms. It's kind of a bit of an oxymoron. It's a bit of a contradiction, but this is what I've come to know in my, long-term research. And I'm here to invite you today to look at where in your life you've been not honoring the freedom that you actually do have, and disguising that with excuses of, well, I've got a family, or I can't afford it, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not clever enough, or it's too hard, or if it's not broken, don't fix it, or, well, I'm too old now, so on and so on. Because chances are, the one thing that you do have, my dear friend, is the freedom to choose. Yet so many of us choose to stay stuck. So many of us choose a life that is steeped in restriction, conformity, following suit, settling for mediocre or second best or third, fourth, or fifth best. And it's not necessary. The one thing you do have is the freedom to choose. But I'm going to help you along a little bit today, because although you may have the freedom, what you may be lacking in is a well-developed courage muscle. Because just like anything else, courage is a muscle that needs to be trained. And we must train it every single day. in the small things that we do, that we may not deem important, we may not deem even worth thinking about, let alone having a conversation about. The courage to drive a different route, even though you may get lost. The courage to try a new dish, even though you may not like it. The courage to speak your truth with your employer or spouse. The courage to say no to your child now and again. The courage to make a decision that you will put yourself and your dreams and your vision for a heightened state of living towards the top of the to-do list, rather than not even making the to-do list, which I know happens a lot. To exert the freedom that you are so lucky to have, you also need courage. So I'm going to suggest a series of things that you can do, start applying, so that we can start to strengthen your courage muscle. Because let's just say freedom is yours already, right? What's lacking is the courage to choose your freedom. I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard the words, but I can't because ... Oh, I can't because I work too many hours. I can't go to the gym, or I can't find time to pursue my passion, to write, to paint. I can't. Does that resonate? Have you ever said that? I can't. Of course you have. We all have. But I want you to become aware. Become aware of the I can'ts. That's the number one sharing today. Become aware of your I can'ts. So I kind of want you to flip on that little switch, right? A bit like a metal detector, okay? Flip on your I can't detector and start to notice when you find yourself saying I can't. And when you do find yourself saying I can't, flip it over. Ask yourself the question, how can I? How could I? How could I go to the gym or exercise? How could I write for 10 minutes a day? How could I? How can I? How can I make it happen? The second point is there's more than one way to do the same thing. And I've already touched on that a little bit. There's more than one way to eat in a restaurant. There's more than one restaurant where you live. I'm pretty sure of that. There's more than one holiday destination, right? There's more than one way to parent your children. There's more than one way to clean your teeth, right? There's more than one way to do everything. So the next point is to start to explore your world and explore how you do things. And ask yourself the question. Perhaps write a list of around 5 activities or things that you do on a very regular basis. And next to that list, start a new column, alternative ways. Now, this could be as simple as the way you do laundry, or the way you travel. If you Travelled by train for as long as you can remember? Are there alternatives? That's not the best example, but there are many, many different opportunities, I'm certain, for you to start what I call unpicking the tapestry that is your life and seeing how you can make up that tapestry in a slightly different way. You see, for the most part, once we become established in our adult life and we have certain systems in place that perhaps are working for us quite well, perhaps we've never really thought about it, the way we do our weekly shop, the way we conduct our free time, right? The way we handle our finances, so on and so forth. Once we create these structures that support us in life, it's so easy to what I call mold into life. It's like you become this person that, rather than being the leader or the architect or the controller of what happens, you just become part of the crowd. You go kind of a go with the flow component, and things just happen around you without much input from you. Now, I know it happens, life gets in the way, you have children, you get the busy job, so on and so forth. But the next point is question everything. Start from the beginning again, as if you were new to the world, new to your adult life. And once you've checked in with your desires, your current desires, start to look at things from a different angle and question, why do I do that? Why do I think that? Why? Go back to being that 2-year-old, that 3-year-old, that 4-year-old that would ask and question and want to know everything. Why do we do that? Why is that like that? Why do we do this? Why did you say that? Why do I have to do it this way? So question everything. I remember the moment when I realized how much I was emulating my parents. Now, there's no right or wrong, I must say, but in truth, it wasn't congruent with who I was. And, it was in a huge, huge way. And once we wake up to the basis of what we are deciding on, what our choices are made up of, the inner workings of them, we then can start to really become conscious co-creators in our life, right? Working very closely with our inner being and the universe and the forces that be, everything that you believe in, right? We can then move forward purposefully, on purpose, on point, and take the freedom that we've been afforded, the freedom that we are so lucky to have, and courageously use it to its fullest capacity. It's a little bit like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet and just having one small starter plate worth of food, right? Most people I know are going to go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and have a starter, maybe a main course, and then maybe go up for seconds, right? So you've been given this all-you-can-eat buffet in life and the freedom to go live it. Chances are you're still stuck on your starter plate. So I want to give you and urge you and give you permission to grab hold of that courage and go up to the buffet as many times as you need to. Take what you need. Have the courage to choose the choices that bring you steadily, gradually, joyfully closer to an everyday experience that is 5-star. So switch on your I can't detector. Number 2, flip your I can'ts into how can I's. Number 3, find alternative ways to do things. Number 4, question everything. And the next one is refresh your freedom. As I mentioned previously, we create systems and activities and ways of being, appointments, jobs, that perhaps were once congruent, perhaps suited us once upon a time. But what is it with us humans that once we get into something, and even if it's not serving us, even if it's not enjoyable or helping us or making us money or making us happy even, we still hold on to it? Now, what is that about? And where's the freedom in it? So on this conquest this week to reignite your freedom and ensure that you have a strong courage muscle in order to exert the freedoms that you have, refreshing your freedom is all about taking a look at what you've got going on and tuning in to whether it's suiting you right now. Is this particular activity, person, lifestyle, or job in line with who I want to become, my future upgraded self? And finding the courage to let it go if the answer is no. So refresh your freedom, because you had the freedom to choose it 5, 10, 15, 2, 3 years ago. But that doesn't mean all your freedom's been used up. It's never ending. It's eternal. It is a constant supply of freedom for you. So I want you to find that supply and become connected to it, right? Just like you've got the water that runs into your home through your taps, the same applies to freedom. In essence, my lovely, you are free. Free to choose your thoughts, free to choose your mood, your state. Not just the things that you see around you, your location, your car, your stereo. You're free to choose how you feel and how you show up in the world. So really and truly, once you've taken yourself through this courage training program, quote unquote, you'll be able to start to draw in the things that you really want in your life. You'll be able to drop the excuses, or I'm not strong enough, or I'm too scared, or what if this happens, what if that happens, right? I've given you some tips and tools today. If you're still a little bit wobbly, or if you kind of go through that process for a few weeks and you still feel petrified to choose differently in your life, you still feel absolutely, desperately unable to honor those desires that are coming through from that very sacred inner space of yours, if you still feel that disconnect, then let me know. Send me a message. Upgrade with Maria K. Jump on over to that Facebook group and share with me what it is that you're experiencing. But first, I really want you to give it a go. I can't step in and train your courage muscle for you. I can give you as much encouragement and motivation as I can, but you must be willing to take action. So as you start to approach your life and the inner workings of it through the eyes of a child, seeing a country or a place or something for the very first time, right? Switching on your I can't detector, flipping your I can'ts into how can I's, finding alternative ways to do things, questioning everything and refreshing your freedom. Do so with the intention of developing a strong and stable courage muscle that will step in and support your freedom so that you can create the success, freedom, and happiness that you really deserve moving forward today. Until next time, I absolutely adore hearing from you. So please do fire me a message, share with me what's going on with you. Until next time, love and courage.